Are you ready to get provoked? You're listening to Can I Live, a show created to excite, ignite, and expose. Let's tune in with your host, R.W. Jones. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Can I Live podcast. Can I live? Like Jay-Z used to say, can I live? Can I get a piece of the pie? Can I have my way to prosperity? Can I have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without obstruction, without hindrance? Can I live? And so we have the wonderful guest, well, not guest, co-host actually, Mr. Glenn Warren. Glenn, say what's up to the people.
Hello, people. Hello, everybody.
We missing our other co-host today. He is out working. Sorry, you guys, that we missed you last week. For sure. Got my little but
There go the smart glasses.
yes, these are my smart glasses. I gotta put the smart glasses on. I'm trying to is this it? Yep, right here. Where's mine? I wanted to make sure. Oh man. I just had it positioned. Where is it? Is this it? I want to show a video for us to start the conversation. Oh, here it is. Okay, so let me share my screen because we're going to start this conversation. Today we're talking about the catch-22. How to avoid the child support system. So this goes out, shout out to all the men out there in America, both black, brown, yellow, green, you name it. If you out there and you're just doing all that you can to be the best father you can, to be the best communicator you can, the best provider you can, the best visionary that you can, the best leader of your family. I surrender, take my hat off if I was to wear one and say thank you. Trust and believe that everything you do, everything you are about and stand for makes this society, this world a better place. We would be just fire and brimstone if fathers did not come to the table. And while, yes, there are many fathers out there who may fall short, we believe that they don't fall short simply because they don't love their children, and they don't fall short because not necessarily they didn't have a father figure. They don't fall short because they're deadbeats. Some of them are just dead broke. And in our mission to move a million moms off welfare, we know that we can't move moms off this welfare system if we do not address the needs of fathers as the solution and not the problem. And so whatever trauma we are dealing with, ladies and gentlemen, whatever trauma is existing that allows us to continually, yes, use that system against him, because we have done that. I am guilty of doing that myself. And I felt like he deserved it, and he did. You couldn't tell me that he didn't at the end of the day. But today, both Glenn and I, we are authors, and we have some books, and I am the author of Get Your Hands Out My Pocket, the hands-on guide to avoiding the child support system. We actually made it a stage play, which is soon to be an animation. And we're on a mission to cancel child support debt for active fathers because we want to make sure the moms are getting what they need to take care of their families and position themselves and move themselves and grow themselves off of poverty. But it starts by first seeing to it that the man of the one's house, maybe he belonged to, maybe he never belonged at all, but that father who has those children with that mother, and in most cases, there's more than one father and there's more than one mother. And so we want to make sure that, we can at least start repairing some of these broken hearts, this trauma, to be better parent partners. Just to step in the gap so our children don't have to grow up in fatherless homes where mothers are angry and full of rage or overburdened, overworked, stressed out, dying from all type of sicknesses and disease because she is just overwhelmed. So it's time to balance the scales a little bit, you guys. And so, Glenn, we're gonna go into this little short link that someone sent me. Actually, Seth, McCoy. He's one of the producers of the Get Your Hands Out My Pocket animation, and he sent me this link. And so I'm
You
going to share
froze.
my screen. Am I still frozen? Am
No,
I
you're not.
still? Am I?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. I'm sharing my screen. And here we go.
Carnell Alexander walked into the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice knowing in moments he could lose his freedom.
I stayed up all night, couldn't sleep, thinking about it.
Carnell is a wanted man because he refuses to do what the state orders and pay child support for a child that DNA tests prove isn't his. A child he doesn't even know.
I haven't even had a chance to really speak to him, except for one time when we took the DNA test.
Nonetheless, right now, under the law, he's a deadbeat dad. Today, he turned himself into the judge's orders.
Scared because I've been before this judge before.
But this time, he had attorney Cherika Harris, who volunteered to help after seeing his story on 7 Action News. The judge said he will not go to jail for today.
Thank you. Thank Ms. Harris. I hope that we can resolve this.
I'm just trying to help him with his future. Though the threat of jail is on hold, it is not over. Carnell Alexander still owes more than $30,000 to the state for a child that's not his because the mom wrote his name down because she needed to name someone in order to get welfare benefits.
And I had to put him down as the father. That was the only way I could get the system.
Now,
I'm almost homeless. I'm almost in jail. I'm out of work. My money is being threatened to be taken.
Carnell isn't just worried about how this is impacting him. He says the law needs to be changed. So when this happens, as it often does, other men don't become dad by default.
We can be defaulted into being a father of a child that is not ours. I don't understand that law, but it is the law in place.
Carnell Alexander walked into the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice knowing in moments he could lose his freedom.
I stayed up all night, couldn't sleep, thinking about it.
Carnell is a wanted man
Oh,
because
I
he
done played
refuses to
over.
do what the
Hold
state
on.
orders and pay child support for a child that DNA tests prove isn't his.
All right. Glenn, have at it. Because you know
Well-
I got a whole lot to say. What?
I can say that's very unfortunate for that young man. And that's really, it's really probably, wait, let's put it up, based on my experience, being in the courtroom, this happens very rarely. So people who want to build a case based on that, they say the child support system is unfair, you can have at it, but the truth of the matter is, this is very rare. What happened to the millions of guys that they took the DNA test? In fact, they was married to the woman. There's no doubt in their mind that the child is theirs. What about the millions of people who don't pay child support and they try to use that clip to justify the system as being unfair? That to me is not genuine, because there's always an exception to the rule. You can always find some guys who are innocent in prison, and all of them say they're innocent, but the vast majority of them are not innocent. So there's always those people like him that is a victim of somebody not doing what they supposed to be did, because it's an imperfect system based on imperfect people. So you're always going to find those clips, but to try to build a case on a clip like that, to me, is disingenuous.
So it's me and Glenn today, y'all. Y'all know how Glenn go, and we about to just go because it's me and Glenn today. Let me say something. Let me just go back, because number one, I saw like 2 to 3 things. Number one, that judge, not the judge, who was the attorney? The attorney had to volunteer.
Yes.
Because by law, a man, unless he hires her privately and has the funds to hire her privately, there is no resources that the state will provide a poor man to defend himself in child support.
Hold on, so right there. If you have in criminal contempt, you have to have a court-appointed lawyer. Now, granted, this lawyer just met your case. He don't know anything about you, but you do have to have representation if you are found in criminal contempt. they will give you a court-appointed lawyer.
That's if you're found in criminal contempt.
Which that's the only way they can put you in jail if you're found in criminal contempt. If you're in civil contempt, they don't put you in jail.
Well, I think that's not necessarily true, because that's how Anthony wound up in jail himself, because he didn't have an attorney and he couldn't find one, and they held him in contempt that same day. He went to court for one thing, and he went to jail in Wake. I was about to say something crazy, but Wake County.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that might not be. I promise you, them judges on your side, they probably act right when you come in the courtroom. I promise you, they act right when you in there. But you know good and well. Come on.
I don't think I hold that much weight. I don't think I carry that much weight.
You accountability. You accountability. They see a black man, they like, okay. And I don't know what courts you're sitting in or who these judges are. And I'm sure it doesn't help when Ray come in the scene with the gangster lean, ooh. It don't work. It don't help.
Right.
Now here's the second thing I saw. Welfare benefits. She had to put a name down so she could get benefits. So here's the state now saying, okay, homegirl, okay, Quanisha, and I'm clowning today. So forgive me for clowning.
Yes.
And shout out to all the Quanishas out there. I promise you, I'm not making fun of your name. I'm just clowning.
Right.
But okay, Quanisha, okay, Kiki, y'all, you want this baby? This baby you said is yours. If you want these benefits, you're gonna have to put down who is the father. So we like Maury, we got the whole Maury Povich team in the back because we want to know who the father is. That is definitely a disproportionate, what they call a disproportionate, that practice. I don't even know if that's policy or if it's practice that would state that was an acceptable practice, that you will withhold a benefit from a woman with a child because she refuses to give the name of the father up. I would think that would be discriminatory.
Well, they changed the law a few years ago, way back when Clinton was president. They changed it when they came out with the word first, and they kind of, before, they wasn't really going after the fathers. The fathers could just disappear, go on the radar screen. They wasn't going after them, but they changed the law that said if a woman gets pregnant, she has to name who the father is. They would still give her some services, but she has to name who the father is. Now, this is how this is supposed to work. It don't always work that way, but this is how it's supposed to work. Right. She put a father down as a name. The system attempt to call this father. And sometimes it's an illegitimate address. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a legitimate phone number. Sometimes it's not. The systems attempt to find this father. If they don't find the father, I'm not sure exactly what they do then. But they attempt to find the father and bring, and then they're sending out the emails or whatever, asking the father to come in to do a blood test. Some fathers simply ignore that and say, I'm not going to come in and hope it go away. Well, it doesn't necessarily go away. And sometimes you become the father that's named as the father, even though, because maybe you didn't, maybe they couldn't get it with you. It was illegitimate. You didn't have the phone number. Or maybe they did attempt to choose you and you chose not to show up to get the blood test because maybe you think it's possible. And you think by just not showing up, it's going to make it go away. It doesn't. Your name now becomes that father as a child, and they're going to go after you.
Now, where I feel like if a state is going to go through all of that measure, you and the committee that put these laws together, you and whatever interns from some Ivy League school came together, put these little whack policies together. Oh, y'all didn't think it all through, or you didn't have that theoretical or practical. I'll say you had the theory, but you didn't have the practice that would play out because the papers show he was not the father. So here's the issue. That particular video speaks. I could build a case on that on so many different fronts, because
Yes.
it speaks to the
Yes.
injustice of the criminal justice system, that you can have a DNA record in front of you that says you are not the father. And at that very point in time when he took that DNA test, that case should have been dropped.
Yes.
But the fact
Absolutely.
that it wasn't,
Right.
he still had to show up in court. And I have a feeling he said he couldn't sleep at night. He was up all night. He was very worried. Why? He was before this judge before. So obviously, maybe this time here was not the first time this case was present, or maybe there was a separate case for Cornell, what his name is, and maybe had he not gone to the news, that man would be in court. That man would be in jail, just like the other guest speaker we had 2-3 weeks ago, who said he paid the bill. He had the receipt and they still put him in jail. So that speaks to a larger problem that we can't evade. You can't separate child support from this criminal justice racism, or from this racist discriminatory behavior that plays itself out in a criminal justice system that criminalizes fathers for failure to pay child support. Because guess what? On another note, maybe I could pay my child support if I was able to get employment and not be barred because of my race. Be barred because I did spend. Come on now, it's a ripple effect. They knew what they were doing when they put the criminal justice on the application, or the criminal ban the box, or, have you ever been arrested? So now that goes on the application. And if they're forthright and says yes from the beginning, if the state doesn't have a ban the box, their application is thrown away. You got what? How many millions of men in the penitentiary? I done made that word up. Penitentiary. Is that even a word? What's the word?
That's close enough.
Yep, jail. How many men? I can't talk today. How many men? Millions. I don't even know the number. I want to say 20 million. Is it that much, or is it 2 million?
It's okay. So now, as an employer,
Oh boy.
You got a company. You have a right to know the record of the person you're about to hire, whether he's a murderer, a thief, or whatever. As an employee, you have a right to know who you're hiring. So now I understand that, but the ban the box means at some point in time you're gonna have to reveal to your employer who you really are.
Wait, that's not So you telling me, Glenn, that if I did something when I was 17, 18, despite of the laws that as a minor that would say you don't have to disclose it, 2021, I did something back then. That was me back then. That's not me now. Why do I have to disclose to you as my employer what I was 10, 15 years ago? And guess what? If I was that 10, 15 years ago, time doesn't make it more relevant. If I just got out of jail 5 years ago, why do I have to tell anybody what I did 5 years ago? That's my business. One, because guess what? As long as if you do your background checks and you do your sexual predatory, Lord, predatory. I am on a roll today. Predatory, what's those people called? Pedophiles.
Yes.
If you coming up on a pedophile list, okay, well, we working with children. We can work with you today.
Right.
But why do I need to tell you what my past was? Because
again, if you're an employee, I have a right to know who I'm hiring. I need to know kind of, you don't have to go back 10, 15 years, but in the next 3 or 4 years, I need to know what you just, I need the same thing about being a pedophile. Why do we want people exactly? Well, I made a word too.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? We on the road. I mean, so I need to know. That's why when you go into a neighborhood, you have those websites. You can go and find out who's living in your neighborhood, because people have a right to know. Now we understand that about sexual people who have, because we don't want those kids around those people around our kids. We understand that, so we all go to those websites. But the same thing applies to, as an employer, when I go hire you, I need to know your background. I need to know what you've done.
Why? Is that going to judge? Are you going to judge me based on what I've done in the past?
No, well, I need to know who I'm hiring. I need to know what your past is. I need to know what your capability is. What you've done. Yes, you could be at a person who abuses people all the time. I'm bringing. Just think about it. You're an employer. You got 20 other staff in. You need to keep your staff safe. So you're bringing this guy in now, or this woman in for that matter. You don't know jack about him. You putting your other employees at risk when you go out and hire this guy that you don't know anything about. So you have to do a
I
background check.
just believe if you're working with children, first of all, the government, if you're getting funded, certain rules will apply. You will definitely have to do some type of background check. Me personally, I don't like background check. I'm going to meet with you, sit with you, talk to you. I have a certain level of discernment, and then I'm going to put you in front of my team who also are professionals. We're going to ask you questions related to the scope of work. I hire maybe what we got 15 people. I'm not, they're all contractors. So I don't have employees, which employees do bring about another risk. However, I just purposely, there's some of our team members that have backgrounds that I've never inquired about because it didn't matter. That's just the kind of employer that we are. I'm not concerned with your past because I feel like we all have a past that we could be forgiven from. God, like I'm not that one. I can't hold that over on you. Now, if you just got out of jail today for something you did 2 months ago, and then you got a pattern of that, guess what? When you sit before me, that character is going to show out in that interview. That inconsistency, that character defect, that insufficiency, that mindset is going to come out. You talk to, and you might get past me, but you're not going to get past the rest of the team.
Well,
I'm just saying, I don't do it. I don't like it. Now, if we have a grant that says everybody has to get criminally back, you have to supply that, then I tell them each, go do your background check, submit that information, and we submit it.
yeah, I mean, apartment
I
complex.
don't read them.
Apartment complex. You need to, with people on apartment complex. I need to know who I'm bringing into my community. I mean, if I got a guy who's got a record, of stealing and lootering and breaking in and being E, would I have a second thought about bringing him into my community? Yes, I would.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because guess what? Crimes, if people steal, now here's who I won't bring into my community. If I know you just went to jail for a white collar crime, for some money laundering, what they call that, not the 3-card Molly, the Ponzi scheme, where you could get people credit card information. No, because yeah, you're a risk. But I'm just saying, from my line of work, for what we do, if you out there stealing, then I already know. Yeah, you might have some character deficiencies, but you probably are caught in the net like half of other Black Americans, Black and brown Americans in the United States. Poverty crime, like stealing, that's a poverty crime.
It could be.
It's a poverty crime.
Well, it could be. It also could be a learned behavior. Is I don't, there's all kind of stuff as contributed to why this person go out and when I hire a person, if whatever line of work you're in, you put you in a lawn company, you cut people gas. This guy's driving your truck. He's driving your equipment. He's driving. I mean, I've heard stories that clients that say, you know what, they hired me. I would have sold all their stuff because I'm still a criminal. I'm out of jail now, but my behavior is still not changed. So unless I do a background check and find out what this guy is capable of, and not give him access to my equipment, I need to know who's driving my truck, who's working on my equipment. Is he gonna take it tomorrow and sell it? I have a right to know that.
I guess it depends. If you giving people physical equipment, to each.
This is, would you hire a guy at a bank teller and he stole millions of dollars? He's a bank robber before he went to jail. He got out 4 years ago. Now he's free. Would you hire him to come work in your bank? I probably would.
Well, listen. You don't know the crap. I almost went to jail for stealing money from the bank. So I would be like, and there was no reason why I was stealing that money. I was young. That was like one of my first job, making so much money. I was a thief and a liar, and I was a crook.
Yeah, it's like
but the Lord.
In old terms, it's like hiring the fox to
left.
Like hiring the fox to guard the chicken house. I know you. I don't know if you know that illustration. Or not.
Yeah, the hound watching the
Like,
chicken. I
the
would.
chicken house. I mean, fox eat chicken, so you're gonna hire him to come in and protect the chickens.
I mean,
It's
I
probably
don't
not gonna
know.
happen.
You listen to Glenn enough. You like drinking the damn Kool-Aid. You gonna be thinking like him. Not saying that you don't make any sense. You make all the logical sense in the world. In fact, half of America thinks like that. These, our laws and our institutions are built off of that. And I'm not saying yeah or nay, right or wrong. What I am saying is I know love keeps no record of wrong. And that's a scripture. So if people want to start living like the scriptures, love is patient, love is kind, it's not easily angered, it doesn't boast, it keeps no record of wrong. So if love doesn't keep a record of wrong, that means I should not be keeping a record of your wrong. Because God is the one that convicts, he's the one that forgives. And if God can forgive, then who am I to not? That's just my philosophy. Now, everybody don't think like that at all. Hence why we got this little probably crazy catastrophe going on. But getting back to the young guy, she said, I just feel like the state is now in the, come on now, like, let's make this plain. And I know people already know this stuff has already been out there. This stuff is out there that the state is in the business of making money off the back of poor people. And we just happen to fit that criteria. And so when you have a system that's so succinct and precise, it's these kind of laws. I mean, I promise you, you think that he's an exception, he's probably more than the exception. He's more than, it happens more often than you even think. And so many men probably would just not even answer. He answered. You know how many men would have never even went to court? They would have just ignored it.
Exactly, and a lot of them do, and a lot of them are their fathers. But they, you know what? They are the fathers. They are ignore them. Said hoping it's gonna go away, but it don't go away. And now so you protect yourself by taking a blood test, especially you don't think you are the father. Number one, you need to take it if you are the father to be a respectable father.
Which he
But
did.
you also did take it if you're not the father to clear your name.
He took it and the name, and it should have been dropped. I bet you the white boy, it would have been dropped.
Well, it should have been dropped, and
it should have been dropped. It should have been a lot of.
Absolutely right.
So what are we doing about that? So what laws, and that's just one. I mean, that is one piece of it. There's so many. Just like how you could go to jail, and that's actually, I don't know which one of these people. I think that would be similar to possibly Reckless and Ratchet. This one right here. Reckless and Ratchet spent 7 years in jail, came home after working in jail for correction enterprise. He came home to like a $50,000-$60,000 bill for a child he didn't know he had because she needed welfare benefits.
Yeah.
So the Young Guns here, this little one here, this Young Gun. Young Guns went to Job Corps. No, actually, Reckless and Ratchet just wound up with all of the child support because he was locked up and he never got it modified. He didn't know he could get it modified. But when he got home, he had all his child support. So the fact that he was a ward of the state, y'all so smart and sophisticated. Once they become a ward of the state, honey, they are your property. That means you need to take on and incur all their debts too. And that's the kind of laws we are promoting. Whereas if you're saying that this person is no longer a free man and he is a indentured servant, property of the state, that means this man does not have the wherewithal to support his children. That means you, the state, you must chip in. Now, whether you give him that bill when he get out, you do that anyway, because most people who get out of jail, and I know in North Carolina, they get a bill. I don't know exactly how that bill is appropriated, but it's a large enough bill. Some people were paying $300 a month in North Carolina. North Carolina is one of the most craziest places. Their laws is straight fresh off the cotton, the sharecroppers plantation. Like it's just crazy. And I was amazed that nobody ever spoke about it. I worked at the General Assembly in North Carolina, Wake County, and I would hear men call the legislature to talk about it. That's how I was even made aware of it. But I didn't know that they leave jail with probation payments.
Yeah.
Did you know about that?
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of, if you're on probation, you,
Probation payments. Okay, so you don't lock me away. I don't work for your correction enterprise. I remember when I dealt with correction enterprise, I ain't gonna say her name, but they were boasting and bragging. They had the audacity to do a presentation to tell us all of the wonderful things that all the prisoners were doing. They had the supply chain on point. They had agriculture, somebody growing corn and shucking corn and turning beans up in here and putting them in them big old cans that they served to the schools and served to the jail. Then somebody over here was doing the signs. I forgot what part. Somebody over here was doing furniture. They had a whole supply chain in jail. And these men were building socks, eyeglasses, lens crafters, like glasses, Victoria's Secret's furniture. And how dare, ooh, God gonna get them. I just felt in my spirit, God gonna get them. You gonna go to the big corporations like, hey y'all, we got some labor for you. Like who gives you the right to go to a private corporation because you got labor? Oh, you got like now you own me. Oh, but you could pimp my labor, but you won't take care of my kids. The devil is a lie. Listen, I don't care if be one person on this webinar, because soon there'll be 1 million. That is the same injustice. A little leaven the whole lump. You can't separate this stuff. And if these men can go into jail and work for correction enterprises I could pull up the PDF that shows you their profit margins. They're what, $24 million a year industry. But when they come home, they can't find a job. So I said, well, how come y'all got this thing real sewn up. How about y'all just implement that on the outside? She says, well, we can't because we will violate Department of Labor laws. And I said, well, what do you mean? She said, because in jail, we could pay them $3 an hour, but out here, we will have to pay a minimum wage.
Yeah.
Pay a minimum wage. You still got a profit margin. But you okay, like to me, you'll go to church, you'll praise God. You're going to praise God for your $65,000, $70,000 an hour, $70,000 a year job. You're going to get your little house downtown. And you every day working for that? Okay. Hope you make it through. I mean, I'm not, I ain't on a committee to pass through people through the pearly gates. But I promise you, God is not pleased. That is not God, not now, not never.
Yeah.
And you cannot just keep his children like that in bondage.
I see the injustice. There are a lot of injustice, and we do have a systemic problem. And we can talk about that until Jesus come out. We really do have a major systemic problem.
But where do you feel like don't you feel like the child support system is just one of those by default things that's happening?
No,
like the failure to pay, the failure to be a father, the failure to do this and that.
Well, when I say systemic problem, everything you just named, all that injustice, you're absolutely right. So we do have a systemic problem, but we also have an individual problem.
But don't the individual come from the systemic?
No, the individual comes from a matter of choices. I know I have
four. Throw this ball at you, Glenn, right on the TV screen.
I know I got 4 kids and I'm not taking care of them.
I had 4 kids and I ain't know no better.
That was just an example. I know I got obligations, commitment, but I'm letting somebody else raise my kids.
Listen, let me tell you, hold on, Glenn, because Anthony gonna be proud today. Listen, hold on, let me sit up. I was a whore. I didn't know nothing else. I was trying to numb a pain. My mama, I wasn't in the, My daddy might have been out there smoking some crack. I had trauma on top of trauma, and probably not the worst types of trauma. However, I numbed my pain and my problems in sex, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4 kids back to back, and then went to the welfare system and was like, I need. Can you give me that? Can I get that? And did I get an attitude because I wanna? It took me, you know what I'm saying? So I was a part of that system, unbeknownst to me. But look at me now.
But what happened? You made another choice.
I did.
And which is other people are not making that choice. They're sticking in this, I am the victim. I need help. Help me, help me, help me. They're not flipping a switch like you did to say, hey, I'm responsible for my own life, not the government. That's the individual problem that the system cannot fix.
Now, I will not say that is wrong. What I will say is I blame the white man. I blame the devil. And then I had a meeting at the pastor at the church because I was like, the devil is busy in my life. I'm trying to find out how to get this white man and this devil off of me. And he was like, it ain't the white man or the devil that's on you. It's these fools with these penises that's on you. And you are the one busy. And I said, well, Jesus Christ, me. And that was the most sobering thought. That's why I tell the truth in love. And we heal when we're told the truth. You can't be shocking and jiving around and just trying to scared that you're gonna hurt people's feelings, because you'll be surprised how the truth can just be humbling and sobering at the same time. And I said, and then I had to say, well, wait a minute. I didn't like the way that they write these little applications. You got to lie.
Yes.
You got to cheat. You feel like a thief.
Yes.
I said, well, what you want? Now, if I answer this question right, I ain't gonna get nothing.
Exactly. So it's perfect and it's wrong. I'm
Somebody
telling you,
get Jesus.
it is, but at the same time, you decided when somebody had to come to Jesus meet with you and the light bulb went off, and you decided, you know what? You absolutely right. I've got to do it ain't the white man, it ain't the devil, it's me.
It's me.
And when you did that, you made this decision. Sometimes a lot of people don't make that shift. And they stay where you were all of their lives. They're a victim. With a victim mentality, everybody always owe you something. And there's always somebody you can blame. The system, the white man, my mom, my dad, the dog, the catfish. You blame everybody. Until you say, you know what?
You better stop.
I'm responsible for, people tell, when we talk about this today all the time, mistakes versus decisions or choices. Our life is a combination of both of them. We all make mistakes, but most of the time, our life is a combination. It's our choices that we made.
But now, hold on. Now, what's coming up in my head right now, if you're going to stick to that argument, then you would be the same one, and you would be the same one that would agree when Kanye West said slavery was a choice.
No, I don't believe that at all. No.
Whoa, wait a minute.
No, I do not. I don't believe that at all. That was not
It's a choice. We had the choice to go and kill all the masters on the plantation, but why didn't we?
We survived. We did what we had to do to survive. We stopped fighting. We kept fighting for our freedom. We protected one another, and we survived. We did what we had to do.
Whoa.
We didn't choose to leave it. We didn't choose to stay.
So we could have chose to die. That could have been a choice.
Some of us did choose to die.
Some did die.
By standing up for our freedom.
Many died because they said, I would rather die a free man than live a slave man.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was a choice. Nonetheless, that some did choose. Many died.
Yes.
All of those people that they hung, the millions of people that lost their life, those are the ones that was trying to run away. Those are the ones that was trying to usurp the system. So we chose.
Yeah. I don't know what Congress West when he said we chose slavery. I don't know what planet he grew up in, but that's not the one we grew up in. We didn't choose slavery. We were put into slavery, and we fought our way out as we still are now.
He chose it. He said slavery. Okay, boom. The connotation, the bondage, the the functions of slavery ultimately was a choice. In that day, it was a choice of life and death for us.
Well, yeah.
Some chose death, some chose life. The ones that chose life had to deal with the consequences of what continuing this slavery thing meant. And there were consequences nonetheless,
Yes.
for and against. It's the same principle that you would put into today. We were not thrown into racial injustice or social injustice or racial, into the bowels of, capitalism and greed and stuff. So we are still making the best things and the best way that we can. You cannot take us out of those contexts there and put us in a totally new world today. It's the same. We're still here. We're still here. And what I'm saying is only a renewed mind can make good choices and decisions. So I think, yeah, God is an X factor. But I just think that's, I guess because you see it so much, the way you see it all the time, day in and day out, these jive turkeys come in there playing games and not aware. They're not aware. They're not conscious. They're not enlightened. They're not woke to that degree where they're understanding the context of where they are in this conversation in court, in this circle called North Carolina, Wake County Black man, in this society and nation that has a history of ensuring that every time we move forward, there will be somebody there to push us 5, 10 steps backwards. They don't just show up in your courtrooms and just one mistake. These people are a part of tons of mistakes, but nobody want to address the mistakes that the system is making, that the white folks are making when they make policy. Let's talk about those mistakes that are having this compound interest in the lives of our children and our sons.
Yeah.
And
And you know what?
fathers.
Those are not mistakes. Those are choices. And they're bad choices. They are bad choices. And we got to fix that. I don't know how we can fix it.
So is having sex, yeah, that's a bad choice. Having sex with no condom,
Those are
running up
not,
raw dog.
those are not mistakes. Breaking the enemy.
I
That's
didn't
not
say
a
it was
mistake.
mistake.
We
You
call
can't win
bad
this game.
choices mistake because everybody make them.
Right. I just was like, you ain't gonna win with Glenn. Don't even try.
No.
I thought I was going somewhere on my freedom train. I was like, yes.
No.
And then you like,
No,
nope.
I understand.
But I understand you're just saying, listen, I get it, I got it. But at the end of the day, there is power in choice, and we can still choose another way. We could choose to wrap up. We could choose to have better relationships. We
Yes.
could choose to be more accountable. We could choose to be more responsible.
We
could
choose not to be a victim.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm with you. I think we might take two different approaches, but I think at the end we're gonna go to the same place. I know that there was a day, I don't know what it was, when I realized one day I just had this epiphany, like, oh, I know what it was. I was getting on, like, I remember having this conversation with one of my children's fathers. I got 3 different fathers. Somebody was like, whore. Stop playing. Stop. That was funny. Wait. And then I was like getting on him and like I was all like, dude, like talking to him like he wasn't crap. I was like, yo, like you ain't shit. Nah, 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 nah. And I got up that phone and I was convicted because I was like, well, honestly, Raquel, he ain't taking care of the kids. Well, damn, can you? Then I had to sit and say, well, if I did not have all of Uncle Sam holding me up, I was an Uncle Sam's, Uncle Sam was like my sugar daddy.
Yeah.
Okay. They need to make Uncle Sam the big pimp. Boy, I want to get an Uncle Sam picture. I'm going to make him a pimp. And I realized, oh my God, if Uncle Sam wanted to take everything from me right now, I would be homeless.
Yes.
And that was I was so, when I looked at all of the from the medical insurance, the food stamps, from the child care that I was receiving, and I added what that was on a monthly basis.
Right.
I said, I can't even afford my own kids. And that's when I was like, you know what? God did not give me these children to have somebody else support them. I had the wherewithal to support my children because they were mine. And that's when I purposed in my heart that I would be free from the welfare system. That's when I decided I was not going to lie to them anymore. I was like, okay, I'm feeling Fergie and feeling all brave. I was like, I ain't lying to the welfare system. Nope, I'm going to tell the truth.
And when you did that, cut you off, huh?
Actually, they didn't, because I realized, well, it's not that I realized. Once I started to tell the truth, I actually started to bump up on other things that were open to me. And I'm gonna promise y'all, right? If y'all listening to me, somebody go get the guy. Go get your guy. He might be by the mailman, by the mailbox. Go outside, grab him, and come back and sit down. When I was doing the robbing Peter to pay Paul, the shuck and jive and 3-card Molly, the Ponzi, I ain't got that. I ain't making that. I don't know what he is. I don't know what. Everything was like shut. The minute I determined I wasn't lying no more, doors was just opening. I never lost anything.
Yeah.
That was the crazy part.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and I run a business.
Yeah.
And they was like, okay, you can run a business. I was like, well, why you didn't tell me that before?
Right. And they're not gonna tell you. Now, what you the picture you just painted, as far as you got to lie about all this stuff, or you got to tell the truth too, because this guy now got a criminal record, and because he's got a criminal record, he can't come back and live in your house because it is housing authority. So he could come and lay the pipe, but at 5 o'clock in the morning, he got to be out. I'm telling you. So this guy now is, you know what I'm saying? He's been kicked all over the place because now he penalized because he can't come in and live at this house because she's receiving all these subsidies. Now she's got to make a decision. I love Junebug. He laying the pipe real good, but he ain't bringing no money to the table.
Or he need to lay the pipe more than 2 minutes.
Well, okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever.
I'm only playing around.
No, he's good.
Oh, Jesus.
He's over the 2-minute issue. That's why he's still coming back, because he ain't a 2-minute guy. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. But guess what? He ain't bringing no money to the table. So
but now they will count. Now here's the deal. You could live there. It's just that the women won't put their name on the lease now. Now we're going to talk about this at some point because it's a part of that dynamics. He can live there. He can absolutely live there, but they will have to be married in order for his name to be on the lease. And there's those dynamics that exist in that relationship where she won't relinquish or trust that he now has the ability to provide for her without the shenanigans.
You know why?
Because she won't have control like she used to.
You know why? He got 2 kids down the street that he ain't taking care of.
With Shaniqua.
She knows his background.
Stop, I'm playing.
I'm telling you, she knows his background. So she's right. So, okay, you know, the only thing you really doing for me right now is taking care of my sexual need. That's what I need you for. So what message are you sending to him as a black man that the only thing I'm good for is laying pipe? So we
the
take
same message that he would be sending to me. The only thing I'm good for is, a quick lay.
Yeah, exactly.
And we sound so old school. I know they don't say that today.
I know, yeah, exactly. But it's the same thing.
Change
the lingo all you want to. That's the same thing. It's the same thing. So you don't want to embrace this guy. You definitely want to marry him because he got 3 or 4 other kids. You know he's not faithful to you. He lied to you, but he's meeting a need. But at the same time, he's not going to spend the night at 5 o'clock in the morning. He got to be gone before that social worker comes.
But then you're not going to take us all the way back to the damn Claudine days. That social worker is not coming in that house.
Well, in COVID, you're not, but she could do the phone call, find out where you are.
Now it ain't that bad. Nowadays, nobody is even really caring. But what they do, them daggone nasty neighbors that trifling, they will call the CPS on you. That's a new game. They call CPS or they call housing or food stamps and say you doing some fraud.
Yeah, as a social worker, I've got calls. My supervisor had got calls because I'm showing up in my nice
Oh,
car.
don't tell me you was that one. Please,
I'm showing
Glenn,
up.
if you tell me you was
No, I'm
social
telling you,
worker.
no, I'm showing up doing my job in my nice car, and the neighbors see me come out, a black man going to this house, and they think I'm a drug dealer.
Okay.
I'm being a social worker. The neighbors.
Why you
I've
going to
been,
her house as the social worker?
huh?
Why you going to her house as the social worker?
No, it wasn't necessarily well, but no, not
Mm,
because my job was I work with people with mental illness, so I had to go check on them. No, this was
okay.
not child support. This was a mental illness.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I was still the point is neighbors do report you, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's
they
not
do.
always. Yeah, they do report you.
They do.
Yeah.
Now,
So
I had a couple of scenarios that we was gonna read from out the book, but we only got like 5 minutes.
yeah.
So talk to me about this. While we got 5 minutes, I got one off the cuff. I don't know if we ever talked about it before, but if you guys, you could go to Amazon and pick up a copy. Get your hands out my pocket. You could actually go to the Billionaires Instagram, download the ebook. Glenn, what's your book?
Mine is when love is not enough.
Ain't
Can you see it?
an advantage. There you go.
The breaking of a child.
Let
And
me
I
see.
talk about relationships. About we all say we love the kids, but our love is not enough to keep us from putting the kids in the middle of their fight, and the kids not.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. So it's two things. I feel like your book is like the highly educated version for people with their right mind already together and trying to get better.
No, this is just the opposite.
Really.
These are kids in the child support court every day that can't get it together, and they put their kids in the middle of the fight. That this is really about the kids, but it's also about the couples who fighting because they cannot get along, and their kids become the victim of their argument and fight. And the kids, that's why I said the breaking of the child, because it's the kid that gets is the one that get broke. This
But I guess I would have to say I would think that we should care. I want to say we care, but do we care enough? Like, do we care enough? And I think that's why you wrote the book, When Love Is Not Enough. We say we love, we say we care, but we maybe don't care or love enough.
well, exactly. Love, I do love my kids, but it's not my love for my kids
It's not.
is not enough. Okay, let me give you an example. A man loves his wife. A woman says she loves him. He goes out and have an affair. Does that mean he doesn't love his wife? Or she go out and have an affair? Does that mean that she don't love him? It does not mean that.
Right.
What it could mean is my love for you was not enough to keep me from having an affair.
My love could not overcome my insatiable desires.
Exactly. My sensation of desire overcame my love for you. I'll still love you until the day you die. But at some point in time, my love was, it's like the illustration I give is you driving, what's the most important person in the car?
The child.
Well, no,
The
when you're
driver.
the driver, why? Because he's the one that's controlling the car. He got to see, I mean, he could talk to you. He could even get instructions from you as to where to go at. But he's essentially in charge of the car, the signal lights, the brakes. He is the master of the car. So you have passengers in there. So I compare that with who's driving your car, your emotional car? The driver or the passengers? The passengers could be envy, hatred, bitterness, resentment. Your love is in the car, but it's not in the driver's seat. Your car's been driven by other passengers.
Mm.
So the same thing, your love could be in the trunk.
You
And
know
I
what?
gave it.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Glenn. I really think that you guys should take the components of your book because we learn differently.
Right.
Black folks, some of us, a lot of us, we just learn this differently. A lot of our stuff is not visual necessarily or auditory. You know what I'm saying? We have these different learning things. And I think putting those things like the way you just described that, if you put that in like some I would say animation, but I would even go as far as to do that whiteboard. You ever seen them do the
Yes.
white background with the chalk drawing? if you did those, and you could go on Fiverr and do that for at least $100 for a minute.
Wow.
You could get that illustrations, and I think that's where you should start to take your book concepts, and as you guys get donations and stuff, and you so get the 1 minute snapshots and put that in those whiteboard videos, though, because you'd be surprised. Sometimes you can be saying it, but when they see it themselves, to see it outside yourself,
Right.
it's revelatory.
Right.
It's different. And I think you can explain a concept from your book in your voice or another voice,
Right.
and say, in the concept of, or in the purpose or position or whatever that concept, is, it's like, and then you just have the guy draw it out for $100. And then
Wow.
you just use that and you promote that, and then you just keep going and keep going. And then I think that's how these concepts will
Wow.
be able to work.
I never thought about that. I want to. I'm learning from you about how to do podcasts because I want to start. We're going to do a podcast where we're going to invite you to be a co-host as well, because I really want to start talking about, because a lot of people when they read this book, they see it's like a mirror. When you see yourself in the mirror, why do you look at yourself in the mirror? Because you want to find out if something is not right. My dress is not fitting right. Something is in my nose. My hair is not fitting. You look in the mirror and you don't like what you see and you fix it.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing about this book. When they read the 12 chapters in this book, every time they read it, they say, you know what? I see myself in this story. And it ain't pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like what I look like in this story.
Yeah.
And what do they do?
Yeah. And sometimes, and I know you drop dimes. I know you drop jewels and gems on a daily basis. And sometimes I just think we have to do all that we can to make sure that this information gets out to those that we are targeting, which we know they're not the avid readers. They're not just going to the Barnes and Nobles and purchasing books, or the Amazon to purchase a book.
Right.
If they are, it's about making some money fast and easy. You just knowing who we are serving and who we're called to help. We got to get more creative,
Right.
obviously, because we can't have those gems just go, just
Yeah.
be gems and just be there and wait till they come in a court system. Wait until you show up in somebody's state. Wait till somebody's, till they get a revelation, or their hand, backs is against the wall, and now they want to listen. You could get them before all that hurt and pain.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Right.
You can get them before all that foolery. But yeah, I saw that because you said that. I was like, I could see it drawing out for myself. I saw it. I was like, I wish somebody would have gave me that nugget years ago.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
would. That's food for thought, regardless of the situation.
Right. Yes. 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 Wow.
So I know y'all gonna be on that quick
Yeah,
fast.
we're gonna be on that. So yeah, text Angela, give her that, put the idea in her head.
Look at Glenn. Where Angela at? You see him? He's like, go get Angela.
Angela, where you at?
I'll share my contact
Okay.
with Angela. And so yes, you guys, it is 8:03. It has been a pleasure to be with you. We got 1 hour to just come before you with some good stuff. And we know that this is good stuff. This is love, y'all. We ask you to share it with your friends, because ain't nobody out there talking about this stuff. Everybody talking about getting money. I promise you that's not the season. Right now, it's all about getting our houses in order and cleaning up those vulnerable places in our lives, the places that hurt. And
Yeah.
trust me, we got so much trauma. We got so many layers that you can't even say that you don't. Like
Right.
we got issues on issues. Like Kanye say, racks on racks on racks. We got trauma on trauma on trauma.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so, share. Here's where I always get tongue twisted. Share. Where's Mona? Share us on Facebook. Was it share on Facebook?
So
Like
hi
us.
guys. So we are liking the podcast on where we have the Can I Live podcast page on Facebook, and we have it on Instagram. On YouTube, we are the Can I Live podcast. Like our videos,
Please,
subscribe to our channels,
please.
and follow all of our media handles. We also on Twitter.
And also, what's Glenn and Anthony stuff. Be sure to at least follow us on Instagram. If you don't do nothing, if you leave these web pages and you don't do a damn thing, then golly, what is you doing?
I'm sure everyone knows somebody that this information, these talks,
Can be
these
useful to.
conversations
That's
can
right.
help. Yes. So
Yep.
share it with your family and friends. You see Mr. Glenn Warren Speaks. That's his handle on Instagram. Name of his organization is Fathers Forever. Anthony Chaplain Anthony James, he's the other co-host that's not here tonight.
I gotta put Can I Live's Instagram there too.
Yes. But please like us on YouTube. We want to
We still didn't even get to 100.
We're trying to get to 100, guys. Help us reach this milestone. Ooh. We want to be able to go live, stream live, just like we're streaming live now on Facebook. We want to stream live on YouTube as well. So help us out. All right. Like, subscribe. We like and subscribe ridiculous stuff every day. Things that don't uplift, things that don't heal, things that are
garbage,
trash, and we indulge in it. What we're talking about here, what we're trying to do is create a movement. We are trying to change lives, families' lives, men's, fathers' lives, mothers' lives, families' lives. This is healing for the soul and for the mind. So help us out.
Okay.
I think that is all.
That is all.
Great.
Yes. Glenn, you know you are the bomb. You my man, Glenn. You be dropping them nuggets in the gems. I'll be on the Facebook in the comments, just going in like you're talking right, Glenn. You're talking right. So yeah.
We got still. I mean, we got to be doing something wrong. I mean, we got still 67 subscribers. Still, that was what we had 2-3 weeks ago.
On YouTube. And every YouTube, if you don't want to go search for our YouTube page, if you look in the comments on this broadcast that is streaming live right now on Facebook, the link to our YouTube page is right in the comments. Click it and it'll take you right to our page, and all you gotta do is click subscribe.
I need us to do better.com, subscribe.com, stop.com. All right, you guys. See you guys next week. Hey. You guys been well. Great.
Great. Thank you.
Have a great night, guys.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
See you later, Glenn. See you later, Monette.
Okay.
Bye.